Hi girls, welcome back. We are on layout number 4 of our 8-page scrapbook kit. I hope you guys are having a ton of fun and liking what you've seen with these papers and with my designs. So let's get right to it. Let's get this last layout assembled. I hope you guys have your either instructions printed off or have it on a mobile device in front of you of some sort. So for this layout, let's grab our pile that we have already pre-cut and set it up in front of us, and let's start building the bases, okay? So let me get these photo mats off of here. All right, so on your pattern paper, the UV coated one is these lines, and you can decide, do you like your lines going, can you see that? Side to side, or do you like them more up and down? I like them more up and down, so my 2 pages are going to look like this with my design up and down. And the first thing it says to do is to take this pattern paper that is the base for page 1, the base for page 2, and to carry it over onto the cardstock piece, which is the base for page 1. So I don't know if you guys do that very often, mix cardstock with pattern paper for your bases in your scrapbook pages, but I actually do it quite often. It's just fun. I like the look of it, and it allows me to not use all of my 2 sheets of cardstock or all of my 2 sheets of pattern paper in just one layout design. So here I've just used one of the cardstocks, and you guys saw in the last layout that we had strips of the lagoon down for that page. So it allowed me to be able to stretch that further by not making either or be both of the base pages. Okay, so for the instructions, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to attach this down to page 1, and then we're going to start building the bottom of the page, moving on to the multicolored pattern paper. So let's go ahead and get started doing all of that. So I am curious, for those of you that want to join in and let me know, are you generous with your adhesive, or do you use just enough, just barely enough? Because I'm super generous at times. Now what I'm doing here is I'm rotating my paper so that when I'm attaching this pattern piece, it is going to be parallel to my body. That's a lot easier for me to line up this edge when I can look right over it than to line it up over here where I'm leaning and trying to see all the way up there. So I turn my paper, and I am going to start at this upper corner and get the corner where I want it. And then you can swing it to make sure that you are lining up the entire edge like that. Easy? Look at that. So now it's perfectly straight. So I'm going to move on to this pattern paper. And before I do that, I wanted to remind you that when we were doing the cutting guide, video number 1, and we were cutting this is the side that was up on the trimmer. Okay, so as we sliced it, it said for layout 2 or for layout 4, you're going to use the back side. And you know that as you cut, the blade does push that trimmer, the trimmer pushes, okay, the blade pushes the paper down a bit and makes that rough edge that we talked about in the cutting guide. So I am going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to smooth out that rough edge because I don't want that to show after I've attached it to my page. I want it to look nice. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the other pattern that's just like that. This is the side we cut, and smooth out that rough edge, okay? All right, so that's just a tip. Sometimes when you're following a cutting guide, you'll have one pattern and you'll be putting it through and it'll say use the front, use the back. Just remember before you add adhesive, if you see a rough edge, push it down with a bone folder or even your scissors. If you don't have a bone folder happy, you guys saw me do that in the first video. Just use the edge of my scissors and it'll make it a nice clean edge. All right, so again, I have it parallel to my body. I'm going to set it on the lower corner and then hold that corner down and then just pivot it until it's lined up all the way across. Boom. Okay, page 1. Let's do the building of the base for page 2. So I have my balloons and my hot air balloons in the right orientation. I'm going to add my adhesive. So see, I feel like I use a lot, but maybe to some of you this isn't a lot. I don't know. You know that on skinny strips I do the whole thing because I don't want any ripples. I say bubbles, but I really mean ripples. All right, so I'll hold it down in the corner, line it up, pivot it around. Okay, so this is page 2. So let's see, what do the instructions say? All right, attach both strips to the bottom edge. Now attach the lines, background, and texture paper so that it is overlapping this background and texture paper by about 1.25 inches, and that it's flush with the inside edge. So that means we're gonna have space here on the outside edge of both pages. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my adhesive, and then using my Versamat, I can measure approximately 1.25 inches down. So I've got this lined up, okay? And we know that this is 4 inches tall. So if I wanted to go down about 1.25 inches, that's 1 inch, and that next line is 1/4. So actually, I'm leading you astray because I'm left-handed. I naturally look over here, but because we are aligning it with the inside edge, you want to go over here. So 1.25 is this little line. And so I am going to line that up, pivot, and put it down, okay? Now, what I do like to do is when I am building a 2-page layout and it has to go across both pages, I like to line them up next to each other. So what I'm gonna do is put these next to each other, and I'm gonna line the top and the bottom of my pages, and then I'm just gonna set this all the way flush with the inside edge and line it up that way. Okay, boom. Now it says to attach the zip strips directly below, make sure I'm reading it right, attach both zip strips directly below the lines, background, and texture paper, again, flush with the inside edge. Okay, so here's where I use a lot of adhesive, but I want that puppy to be down and looking good. So lay it down, start with the inside edge, do it that way, start with the inside edge, get it lined up, make sure it's tucked up tight, and pull it across, and we'll do the same thing on page 2. All right, now building the base of this layout, that wasn't too hard, was it? And do you guys think this would be an easy layout that I could replicate now that I've seen Tina's pattern? I can do this layout with any combination of papers. Since the background of my page is fairly neutral, it's a solid color, it's not a pattern, then I can layer on patterns of paper that complement not only the background and texture paper, but also work together. So keep that in mind when you're doing it, when you're trying this pattern with different papers. All right, so now we're gonna begin the assembly of page 1. And on page 1, it says to attach the sapphire cardstock photo mats approximately 1 3/4 inches down from the top and a smidge, okay, 1/4 inch in from the inside edge. All right, so let me get adhesive on these 2 photo mats. Okay, so 1 1/4. I'm gonna move page 2 for now so I can line my page up on the Versamat. 1 1/4. 1 3/4, so 1 inch, 2 inches. This little tick mark is the 3/4 inch. And I said about 1/4 inch in, and I just eyeball it and boom, I like it. Now I'm gonna add the second one, and I'm just gonna leave the ittiest bittiest littlest baby gap. Okay, just for a tiny bit of demarcation. You can butt it all the way up to it. It does look like it in the photo, but there is the tiniest little gap. All right, now this is where we're gonna use the last little zip strip. And I like to do this often, but I am a scrapbooker. I'll tell you a secret, that I like to do my scrapbooking on road trips. So I make a lot of layouts for my classes, and then I have all my photos, and what I'll do is when I'm getting ready to go on a road trip, I'll pull out layouts, and I'll pull out my photos, and I'll pick photos that go with these layouts, and I'll pile them all together, and I'll have a big pile like this, and I'll just slip them in one of those plastic bags that our paper come in. And then when we're on the road trip, because I get so bored riding in a car, I will take one of our close to my heart boxes or a lap board or a breadboard, and I'll have it on my lap, and basically I'm just trimming and adding photos, and I get a ton done that way, and I make a big mess on the floor of my car. So that's why a lot of times you do not see me adding things directly to where the photo is going to go. I do it on the edge and make sure that I can slide whatever it is, whatever photo I'm putting there under it. So what I just did was I took this zip strip and I just added a glue dot to the very, very edge, and I'm going to line it up here on a little off the edge of the photo mat, and kind of, you can even go a little lower, just right there, so that when I put this photo on and it says this really happened, I can just slide my photo right under. So that's kind of a glimpse into how I scrapbook. Now we're gonna add the Fun Times title. And remember, I told you that I often take all that extra sticker sheet off so that it's a lot easier for me to remove the stickers. So see, that comes off pretty easy. And I'm gonna be crazy, and we're gonna put foam tape on this. And you guys know that takes a little while, but that's okay. And right now, all I have is the wider foam tape with me, but if you have your skinnier foam tape, this will go faster. But I'm just gonna add some strips. I personally am not gonna cover everything. I'm just gonna cover the majority of it. This, hope it's not getting too dark. My son wants to hide behind clouds right now, so it's feeling quite overcast here in my classroom. But again, I wanted to be by the open window for you guys because I think, whoops, yeah, natural light is better. Okay, fighting with it. You guys getting your, are you guys getting all of your foam tape on too? It's a little tedious process, but I think the outcome of doing this is nice. So I'm gonna put one right here, going to the top of the M, getting that arc, and one, yeah, I'm gonna cut this. I don't think I need all of that right across there, but I definitely need a little bit of foam tape there, and I'm gonna get this one out of my way. Ah, it's hiding. I'm just gonna set it in here while I wait and get it off my fingers. Okay, now cut a little bit more. I'm wondering, do you guys have a tray like this that you use to make stickers de-sticky, or do you like using your embossing buddy? Or I even have one of those little tubes that have the powder in it with like the paintbrush tip that you can, but it takes too long for me. I am telling you, bad habits I get in a hurry. So I have done it like this forever, and this is just how I do it. Even the ladies, all of you who come to my vocal classes, you know, you'll ask me, where's the tray? I need the baby powder. It's so much faster than pulling out that embossing buddy, but I'm curious if anyone else does it this way. I just like to make them unsticky. Or maybe you just put them on and don't worry about it. Okay, so now when we put this on, we want the title to land where we want it. And so the S is actually going to be close to overlapping the photo so that we can get the whole thing right above this confetti type BTP. And slightly overlapping it. Okay, so that for this layout, I'm not going to have my title Fun Times be floating. I want it anchored. So it's going to be anchored to the pattern paper, and it's going to be anchored to the words. Now, for a design concept, let's talk just a little bit about why I chose the patterns the way I did. All right, so when I look at a sticker sheet and what I'm working with and I see the titles, I often build my layout around the titles. And this title is multicolored. As you guys can see, this sticker has every color in the paper pack on it. So if I had used this pattern up here and this one down here, the title would just blend in and be underwhelmed. And I don't want that. If I'm gonna do this, I want my title to stand out. So that is why I chose to do the busier, the more bold pattern at the bottom and the less bold pattern at the top. So voila, Fun Times. And then to tie it together because all of the bright colors here are near the bottom of the layout, we need to make sure our eye is going to move all around the page. So I'm going to add the kite above this so that I have some of this same bold brightness at the top as well as the bottom. And it's at the starting, the visual start of my layout is where that is. I'm not even gonna worry about this tail. That's too much for me to try to cut because it's just too much for me. If you guys wanna add adhesive to that, you are certainly welcome to, but it's okay with me if this looks lower because it's like the kite is flying. So that's why I'm gonna add the kite sticker up there. And then that means I am ready to shift us over to page 2 and show you how we carry that pattern around. So boom, Fun Times. Okay, let's grab layout 2. All right, I'm gonna set them both here for a minute because what the instructions say is that you're gonna add your 3x4 photo mat so that it is aligned with the top of that. Now I know I give you the measurements. I say go down about 1 3/4 inches, but sometimes it's hard to be perfectly accurate when you're looking at your Versamat and you don't have the other page next to you. I mean, you can be off just a smidge. So what I like to do again is line the 2 pages up, top to bottom, see that? And then line this up with that. Boom. Okay, directly below it is one of the 4x4 photo mats. Leaving about the same smidge of a width. Smidge is definitely a real scrapbooking term if you didn't know that. Just kidding. My local ladies that come every month to see me will tell you that I am the queen of funny little sayings. Okay, now this layout, this would certainly be a photo you could pop up, no problem. If you're a lumpy bumpy scrapbooker, this would be awesome popped up, but I am not. So what I'm gonna do is add the adhesive everywhere but the very bottom where it's gonna overlap, because I'm not a huge lumpy bumpy scrapbooker. And put it about like that. No, I'm gonna set it loosely. Okay, now, before I get too far, we're gonna grab our confetti BTP and we're gonna add it to the center of this photo mat because it's going to make a place for another focal point image that is going to pull those bright colors up from the bottom of the page towards the top. But what I want you to see is that on this side, it's not as high as the kite, it's a little bit lower. Stick it in, get it de-sticky. Okay, it's a little bit lower, but that's how I'm gonna pull that color up. Stick it right on, yep, pull this one off. Okay, we're gonna stick this one right on. Best day, okay. And now we're gonna take the other 3x4 photo mat, add our adhesive, put it right, oops, right down here. So I want it to be up above this a little bit. You can leave as big or as small of a gap as you want. add the little 3x3 that can now, be your journaling. Ooh, I'm out of adhesive. I do that a lot. Now can be a place for journaling or another picture. It is up to you. It again is gonna slightly overlap. Okay, so I'm gonna set it there. So I knew that I was gonna wanna move this. That's why I didn't push it all the way down. There, so that these two edges line up. Okay, and now we're gonna add this. I'm just gonna set it lightly because I wanna get my sticker where I want it. And we're gonna go ahead and pop this one up too. But look, it comes off because all of the other outside sticker is off. It pulled off and left that down super easy. I don't know, maybe that's, I wonder, you guys leave a comment, let me know. Do you guys do that? Do you pull off all that extra sticker? I know some people say that, oh, but you can use that outline of the star, and I have done that in the past. Out of adhesive, I mean, not adhesive. Let's see. Ran out of foam tape. Had to get some more. Okay. And I have done that before, but I just end up taking it off. So I'm curious if you guys have ever done that trick before, or if you really do like to save every little thing. I do have a few of my ladies, you know who you are, who like to save everything, and when I throw things away, they are not happy with me. So I try to be careful and not throw scraps and stuff away in front of them, because they'll tell me, Tina, that's perfectly usable. I'm gonna make this even smaller. All right, you guys getting your bike popped up, getting all that foam tape on your bike. This layout is taking longer just because we're doing so much with foam tape. All right, set it in, push it down. Whoops. That's why I usually don't do it right on my layout, because I like to make a mess, but it comes right off. Okay. So I got my foam tape on. So this little guy is gonna go just like that. So because I don't want the handlebars overlapping too much, I'm gonna pull it up. There, now I'm gonna take my foam tape off. 2, 3. You guys liking this layout so far? Feel free to leave comments. Let us know what you think. Tell me about your adhesive use. Tell me if you're a lumpy bumpy scrapbooker or if you're a flat Stanley like me. All right, I'm gonna add my little bicycle down. Now, the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a couple of these cloud stickers, and I'm gonna lay one there. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And I'm gonna lay one there. Looks pretty good. And I'm going to grab the sunshine, and I'm going to put my foam tape right in the middle, put that little guy back on before I put it in the adhesive remover, aka cornstarch. Flip it off. Okay, put my little cloud next to my little, popped up next to my, ooh, I didn't get that done. Put my sun next to my cloud, and then we're gonna add a title. And you have photo op, or you have I am loving this, or life is sweet. You have options. You can choose, or if you don't even want a title there, don't, okay? Of course, I've used up almost every little bit of foam tape that I've had out here. So I'm gonna add my foam tape. Okay, I'm gonna stick the edges in, get them unsticky, blow it off, and there we go. I am loving this. All right, what do you guys think? Are you loving it? You enjoying the layout? The last thing we have to do is add some gems. And I am going to, restocked, get some of this out of the way. I restocked my babies, my bitty gems. So I'm gonna do a quick little visual triangle. 1, 2, 3 on this page. Okay, and then we're gonna grab page 1. And guess what? On this one, the only place I ended up adding a gem was right here into the center of the kite. Forgot what my word was. All right, so here is layout number 4, completely done and ready for photos. So that ends my portion of all of the scrapbook layouts. I will be monitoring all of the comments, answering questions, helping you guys out any way I can. You also all are free to message me if you need to, if you for any reason. But I hope you liked it, and thanks for hanging in with me through these 4 videos, and I'm looking forward to what we're doing next. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.